welcome everybody to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thanks as always for hanging out with us for some craft beer and conversations. We do it every week, nearly every week. So, and always happy to have you here. I am Tim Dennis. Brian Hewitt, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. It's going pretty well. It's been a long day, and
Long
even,
day.
I got out a little early from the day job, but
The work thing.
it still felt like a really long day despite it.
Sometimes you
It's
have
been
to. Yeah.
yeah, it's honestly been one of those weeks, but I'm glad to be here, enjoying some beer and talking about beer with
Good
you
stuff.
guys.
Good stuff, man. Nate,
Yeah.
how's it going?
Going well. Did some yard work today. Sweated almost immediately stepping outside the door. And I don't know if you guys were aware, it is summer and hot outside.
I've heard rumors.
So
Oh.
I.
Yeah, and
I
Georgia is
try
a
and
very
stay
humid.
yeah, I try and stay in the air conditioning and ignore the reality of the temperature. So,
Yeah. Tim,
yeah,
how you doing?
I'm fine. Yeah, it's just cranking along here, staying in the AC, trying to stay cool, not doing it. My office slash studio is in a corner that gets a lot of sun, and then I've got a bunch of electronics equipment in here. So, even with air conditioning, it occasionally does not like to behave, and it'll get a little toasty in here. But I'm pulling through, guys. I'm making it through. So it's all we can do, really. Yeah. Well, guys,
Exactly.
jumping right into it. One thing we mentioned, we're going to get into a little spoiler. This is our Christmas beers in July episode. For those that are watching the live stream, we are still in July, just with the timing of it. The show, the actual podcast, is going to drop on August 1st. But we did drink these on July 25th, Christmas in July, and kind of recap on what we thought. But we went through the breweries a box of the 12 beers of Christmas. So Brian will, lead us into that here in a minute. But we also had a beer, remembering Alan Sprints from Hair of the Dog. Brian, you got a little thoughts here on it. But we had Doggy Claws from 2009, and that is an American barley wine. For this one, I did allow an American barley wine. It was okay.
Once you age it for enough time, like the
Yeah.
hoppy edge to it kind of goes away. I don't know how Alan Sprints was uniquely capable of making beers that held up exceptionally well with time. Now, it probably helps that a lot of his stuff was double digits ABV, so I'm sure that's part of it. But we got into this as kind of a tribute and just kind of a special thing. This is the oldest of all the beers that I bought from them when they were closing up shop, and honestly, it's kind of hard to know when to open a thing like this. But this week seemed like the right week. But yeah, 11.5% ABV American barley wine. Yeah, great ratings on Untapped if that appeals to you. I think it was phenomenal. I thought it did really well, but. The official blurb for it is Doggy Claws is a barley wine made with in the West Coast style, so American IPA. Back when when you specified that as West Coast, but anyway, big malts and hops make this copper-colored ale one of the most popular products that they have. Produced in September and October and released in November, this beer will continue to improve for years to come. That was the official saying, and I can attest to it. It did improve a great deal for
Yeah.
years to come. Now, I didn't have one of these 10 years ago. Maybe it was better then, but it was still fantastic today. So,
Or 16 years ago when it was fresh, right?
oh, that's
So,
that's true. My guess is
yeah.
it is better. It's maybe not. Maybe it's better now. I'm sure it was better 10 years later
I
than
guess
it
it
was
depends
new.
on, what you're looking for in the beer. I'm sure there was definitely more bitterness, being
Oh,
an
sure.
American, West Coast style American barley wine. I'm sure there was more bitterness in there. Some people do dig that. For me, like I was not aware that it was an American style barley wine when we were drinking it. That's where the bitterness level is now. So for me, I was totally fine with it. These old beers like these big boozy old beers like the barley wines and such, they get again. I've mentioned it several times. I just thought her description was a really good one. But Nancy Palmer, who was the former executive director of the Georgia Craft Brewers Guild, was on our show many years ago, and we had a dogwood beer from probably the same time frame, honestly, and she made the comment. She's like, "It tastes like an old library in the best possible way." I was like, "Okay, yeah, I kind of get what you're saying there." So it kind of fit that description for this one as well.
Yeah, I can't think of a better place to experience just age, because that's a place
Yeah.
where things sit idle for a long period of time. You've got paper, documents, leather, things like that, wood that is slowly oxidizing with time. And yeah, a lot of that does come through. There is a certain quality of that in a lot of these well-aged beers. I
Yeah.
don't know if I specifically got. I think I thought this was kind of a hanging out thoughtfully in your den kind of drinking beer. So like, I guess I got a little bit of that den, little library,
Are you
vintage type
are
of thing.
you really? Is your palate so refined? You're like, this isn't a library as much as it is a den, or possibly a sitting room,
I was
or a
that's
breakfast nook on a
I was
Saturday
gonna-
morning.
I'm not going to claim to be that refined. That's the thing that came to mind as I was drinking it, as I recall. I did not think library initially. I'm like, oh, this is like, meditative, hanging out in the den. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. I
Like
get
wood,
that.
leather, old books, den kind of place.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, it's a den versus library. I don't know. Maybe the same thing,
Okay. All right, Brian. Whatever you get out of this beer is what this beer is meant to give you. So
Exactly. And because it's a
stuff.
special beer, I definitely probably read extra into it. You
Yeah,
always do that
yeah.
with stuff
It
that's like,
happens,
this is a
man.
special beer. Like, you appreciate every nuance and maybe magnify it a bit. I still think it's a
Sure.
great beer, regardless.
It's all about the experience, man. I mean, you can
Sure.
drink the same beer in 4 different places and have 4 different experiences with it. So it's kind of cool that way. But-
Absolutely.
Well, guys, moving along, beers of the week. So we do have some we're sipping while we talk about we're drinking beers while we talk about the beers that we've drank in the past. So that's going to
Correct.
that'll be a good time. Brian, right now for the show, what are your beers of the week?
Yeah, so I pre-gamed, was getting stuff ready with a Third Eye Good Living Czech Bohemian Pilsner, which is quite nice. And now it seemed only appropriate that I be drinking a Christmas in July type of beer. So Brasserie de Chouf's Nice Chouf is what I'm drinking. And I happened to see a small drop of these recently. I think that distributors realized that some people were into it in July. But that's a winter ale. It's said to be smooth and strong with spicy notes of thyme and curacao. It comes in at 10%. So I'm going to get nice and loose and warm while we're doing the show. And following that up with probably the after party with the Patreon folks, I'm going to get into another Third Eye beer, Double Astral, which is a Imperial Chocolate Oatmeal Stout, which is also boozy. And this one is a 2023 GABF Gold Medal winner. So I'm going to be drinking one of their Gold Medal winning beers. And I'm looking forward to that.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Once again, shout out to our buddy Jake for sending us a nice selection, nice sampler of the Third Eye beers. And Nate, I believe you are going Third Eye for your beer tonight as well, correct?
I am. One of the perks of having you boys over at the house for the little clubhouse studio thing that we have going on is I get to get some of the beers that get shipped out to you guys. And so, yes, I'm also drinking the Third Eye Good Living Pilsner. And I agree, Brian, this is a very good beer.
Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Well, Christmas in July, Christmas beers in July. We're going to dive into this. Brian has gathered some data on Christmas in July. We didn't just make it up to drink beer, although we would be known to do something like that. But there are places that kind of, I don't know if celebrates the right word. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a little stretch there. Just like anything retailer snack, grabbed onto it. I saw, I think it was Macy's did a Black Friday in July, and a couple other places doing it. So of course they try and take advantage of it there, but there's a little something behind it. Brian, what's the scoop on Christmas in July?
I definitely just only heard of the phrase, never looked into it, and I'm like, well, I'm just doing beers based
Yeah.
on this concept being a thing. But yeah. So though Christmas in July sounds like something that a marketing department cooked up in the past like 20 or 30 years, it's been around a lot longer than that. According to Southern Living magazine, Christmas in July began in 1933, if you can believe it, at Keystone Camp in Brevard, North Carolina. Its creation is credited to the whimsical spirit of the camp's co-founder, Fanny Holt. And it was a whole thing back in 1933. They did Christmas carols, they decorated trees, Santa was there, cotton snow, and gift giving, the works. And the camp is still around, and they still celebrate it to this very day. A lot of people wonder why it wasn't Christmas in June, because that's 6 months in. That's like halfway through the year. Well, here's the thing. The kids weren't at camp in June, so you had to do it in July. And it just kind of rolls off the tongue better than Christmas in June. I don't know. July is better for some reason.
July sounds better. Yeah, for sure.
But then also there was a movie from 1940 that put the phrase into the country's consciousness. The movie was, of course, called Christmas in July, and it was about a man being fooled into believing he won $25,000 in a contest, which was the big money in 1940. I've never seen the movie. I don't know how it all turns out, but I know the character was, and the story goes around giving gifts to family and friends, and hilarity ensues, I think. Drama, probably. I don't know. But not long after that, the concept was adopted as a way to, get attention for noble causes. Christmas in July was a common theme of donation drives shortly after that, gathering mail and gifts for soldiers overseas, especially during World War II. It was a catchy theme, so it wasn't long before retailers, picked up on it. And that eventually led to things like Hallmark Channel having their annual Christmas in July winter rom-com marathon that you may have seen. Like, if you ever look at, every now and then I'll look at things on like Apple TV or whatever, like recommended movies or popular movies. Suddenly in July, there's a huge spike in Christmas movies, and I never really put it in my head until recently. What's going on with that? But other things like Great Lakes Brewing Company famously celebrates Christmas in July every year. They even release a small amount of their Christmas ale for the event, so they release a little bit of that. I guess they brew it specifically for that. And that event also includes a toy drive and donations for local charities, so it's kind of tied into that whole noble causes thing. And a lot of people, people have tried to make Christmas in June and Christmas in August and Christmas in September. People have tried to make that a thing, but everybody knows those are just lame attempts to copy Christmas in July, and we laugh scornfully at those losers, as we should. But according to Wikipedia, Christmas in July does have an official day, even though it's often associated with multiple day or even month-long events like charity drives. That official day is July 25th, which should come as no surprise. And like Tim said, that happened to be the day. Just worked out that was a day when we actually drank the beers that we're going to be talking about today. So, yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. And Brian, fun that Brevard, North Carolina, where Christmas in July started, I believe Oscar Blues Brewery is in Brevard.
It is.
And I think Sierra Nevada is in that area, but it's Asheville area. So, Christmas in July started very near where there's lots of good craft beer now. So the universe is seeking balance in drinking a bunch of Christmas beers in July.
I think so. I wonder if those breweries know that, because you would think that they would maybe lean into that, because
I got to be honest, I don't think many people think to look into Christmas in July. I mean, I think it's just one of those things that's kind of been around, and I just assumed it wasn't really a thing, that it was just it was just some cheesy thing people started doing and it carried. I didn't realize it had origins, to be quite honest with you. So,
it has a whole origin story. It's like a superhero. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, all right, y'all. Well, yeah, the big part of this episode is going to be us kind of talking about these brewery 12 beers of Christmas. And we did, for those not familiar, they do follow the 12 Days of Christmas song with the beer themes that they do there. Something that messed us up a little bit. We didn't realize it, but they've changed some of the styles over the years from what they were originally. So when we put our information together, we didn't think that maybe, the fifth day of Christmas beers would be different. I don't think that fifth one has changed. I think it's remained the same, but some others have changed throughout the course of it. And this is the thing that the brewery did. They were originally released one at a time. I think the first one came out in 2008, and then they did a new one each year. And the set that Brian had, a really cool set from 2024, so 2 years old. And it came with all 12 of them, and I think they were 375s. Is that 375 milliliter bottles?
Yeah. They were basically glorified 12-ounce bottles.
Yeah, which
really
was
nice
good.
ones.
It was the three of us, and then Party Nate, as we call him, Nate's roommate, joined us there. He couldn't join us for the show, but he did enjoy the beers with us and provided us with delicious Chex Mix, as he's been known to do.
Oh, yes.
So that was a good time. But that's kind of the background of what we're doing here. Brian, you've got some information on each of the beers. So we can kind of share that. We can kind of go down through each of these and share our thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. So you want the stats on it? Like we got the average ABV of these beers is about 11%, so they're boozy animals here. The ABV ranges from 9.1% to 12%, so they're all pretty high. Most of them are double digits. The lowest is 9.1%. That's seven swans of swimming. And the highest, appropriately, is 12%, which is 12 drummers drumming. The I went through and looked at the average untapped rating just to see what that is. And for the 2024 release, which is different from the original, the average rating was actually a little higher. It was 3.96. The highest rated was 12 drummers drumming with a 4.04 rating, and the lowest was 5 golden rings, interestingly, and then we'll find out why that's interesting later, with a 3.86 rating. Yeah, there were two beers that were barrel blends, though I think actually I found that due to changes, I don't think any of these are still barrel blends. I think that they swapped out oak chips. So anyway, in a couple that feature lactose, there were 6 distinct styles that I noted going through all these. A bunch of dark ales with adjuncts. There are about 5 of those. There's 3 just straight up Belgian quads. One of them might be a slight blend. I'm not. I think that last one still has a little bit of a blend, but it's mostly quad. There's a golden ale. There's an imperial milk stout. There's a dark imperial wit, which I think is meant to be a wassail, and there's a Scotch style ale. And yeah, that's the overall on them.
Okay. And Brian, you did share before we drank these that they're, of course, you can drink them in order.
Yes.
But there was also a palette optimized order, which took them out of numerical order. And Brian, I appreciate that you know me so well that you realize doing them out of numerical order would literally give me a heart attack. So, we knew that the palette optimized order existed, and it was not even made a consideration for our tasting because I just could not have handled that.
Yeah.
But if you choose to do the palette optimized order, if you're a crazy person that can do a list of things numerically, not in numerical order, which is weird, I'll just throw that out there, first of all. But if you wanted to do that, the suggestion is starting with the 5 golden rings, which is a bright golden ale there. Next one would be the 7 Swans of Swimming, which is the lowest ABV beer out of the set. The 3 French Hens. And Brian, I think, am I quoting some wrong info here? I thought you had said earlier that the 5 Golden Rings was the lowest ABV.
No,
did I hear you wrong?
Maybe I'm wrong. No, I think 5 golden rings is actually the highest. Not the highest. The lowest ABV is still 7 Swans of Swimming.
That's
yeah.
I was out.
Yeah.
So 7 Swans of Swimming, lowest ABV. Then you're going to go to 3 French Hens, then 10 Lords of Leaping, then the Partridge in a Pear Tree, 4 Calling Birds, 11 Pipers Piping, 9 Ladies Dancing, 6 Geese Lane, 8 Maids of Milking, 2 Turtle Doves, and then 12 Drummers Drumming, which is the highest ABV and your barrel age finale for your absolute insanity that you go through there.
I just enjoyed the chaos of you reading them in a completely random sounding order.
It was
delightful.
painful. This is a growth experience for me, Brian. Sometimes you got to step into uncomfortable territory. So,
deep breaths, Tim. You made it through it.
But we did do them in numerical order, so we'll start with that. And of course, we started with the Partridge in a Pear Tree there. And Nate, you want to get us kicked off and share your thoughts on the Partridge there?
Yeah, starting right off, I knew this was going to be a Belgian heavy tasting, and they're not quite my preferred style of beers. And so, keeping that in mind, the first beer being a Belgian style quad ale, I was looking more at like just trying to judge it based on its style wise, and so I said it's got a reddish brown color, dark fruit on the nose. It finished with a little bit of an alcohol burn, like an ethanol burn, that was unpleasant. And then I think as we talked around the room, we realized that there was like a tartness that was present that was not generally pleasant.
Yeah, gotcha. I noted it did have a really nice, like, jammy aroma to it. Jammy nose is the way I put it there. So that was pleasant. I did get the citrus tartness. And actually on quite a few of the beers, I got a little bit of a tartness that I really don't think was appropriate for those. And I thought it may have been my palate and that, and I did some palate cleansing and tried them again. And I will say it wasn't as intense there, but I did get some tartness as we went through there. For it was pretty boozy for what it was, 11%, pretty boozy on the palate. I did get a nice note from the Belgian candy sugar. That taste, if you know the kind of the Belgian candy sugar, how it tastes fermented out, that was pretty good. And I also noted, Nate, it finished a bit hot there. But there was a good malty backbone to it. When we started this out, I was trying to give everything numerical ratings, but a lot of these hung pretty close for me, so it was hard to differentiate the two. So I did eventually abandon numerical ratings, but for this one, I gave it a 3.25 out of 5 as our first beer of the day.
I also gave it the same rating.
Okay. Brian, how about you?
I think I may have liked this a lot more than you guys did. I did note the tart to it, and I did think that there was some fruity notes that really popped for me out of this. Tart, but almost, I wrote down tart, but almost like borderline syrupy. And I think it was Party Nate that mentioned cranberries, and I'm like, oh, that's exactly it. And so it's like it became in my mind a bit of a cranberry quad. I'm like, I like this one a lot, and this one did well for me. I think I wound up liking number one a lot more than other people did. I may have just been on board with the quad thing, but I also did not mind that there was that touch of tart to it. It didn't strike me as the tart where this is going off. It just struck me as this is interesting tart. I think there are cases in this lineup where some other beers had this tart where it was inappropriate and it actually hurt the beer. In this case, I think it actually helped it for me.
Think it was fine here, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, good enough. Well, next up, we went to our two turtle doves, and this was we originally did have the wrong description on this one because it sounds like this may have been one they changed up. And if you look in Untapped, the one we had is the one that's noted as two turtle doves 2021. So, and Brian, I got to be honest, I would have liked to have tried the other one they had because that's not the one we did not drink. Said it was inspired by the chocolate turtle candies. With cacao nibs, toasted pecans, candy sugar, and a lot of caramel malts. That would have been a good one to have. But what we had still, this one actually ended up being one of my favorites of the day. I enjoyed this quite a lot. But this one was a Belgian ale with orange peel and spices. So it had ginger, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, and really you got a nice spicy blend there. From the Belgian yeast, had some esters that really played into it well. Definitely tasted the orange peel, and I think everything came together pretty well. I got a little Belgianed out by the time we made it to the 12th day, but on this one, I really enjoyed it. That Belgian character was really good. Enjoyed that. So, two turtle doves. I did give it a 4 out of 5 at the time. I'm also in numerical ratings when you're on the front end of the list. I try and be a little reserved to see where we go from there. So that one got 4 out of 5, but it did end up becoming one of my favorites of the day. Yeah.
Makes sense. I thought that in this case, I noted that I didn't end up liking it not more than one. One I really enjoyed once I kind of keyed in on particular aspects of it. But I did notice that this one didn't finish as hot as number one, which was nice. That was actually a positive thing. And that orange is a very nice, like, finishing note that kind of, it was quite enjoyable. So I like this one. I thought this one was pretty good. I don't have a lot more to say about it. I do kind of wish that it had been the original. It's kind of disappointing to realize you got something that this isn't what the original was, because the other one, like that chocolate turtle candy, would have been cool.
Sounded good, didn't it?
Yeah.
Brian, Nate, what are your thoughts on two turtle doves?
Yeah, so I agree with Brian. I think I actually agree with both of you. I think we were all excited and disappointed that this beer was not what we had printed on the page. Actually, I've got Party Nate's notes in front of me as well, and looking at his notes in relation to mine, we rated this beer the same, 3.5 out of 5. And we both said that the spices were definitely there and that the orange was subtle. And so I noticed the orange at the tail end of drinking through it. But as far as the spices go, it definitely was a spiced with a whisper of orange.
Just a whisper, just a little whisper. Yeah, tasty beer all around. Well, guys, next we move to Three French Hens, and this one was a Belgian style dark ale. 24, excuse me, 75% Belgian style dark ale and a 25% of an ale aged in French oak barrels. So they said that the finished blend was a bold and spicy concoction that rises above the pecking order to establish its own unique place in the 12 Days of Christmas series. So with this one, you know what, there was not a lot of this one that stood out to me. I did note kind of darker malt presence in this one for me. I got that tart fruitiness again in this one. That knocked it down some for me. I didn't care for it in this particular beer. So, you know, that was something. Overall, I didn't have a lot to say on this one. I thought it was okay, and I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, this ended up being of the first three, my last place one. I noticed the tart. It did not play as well in this beer. Like the light fruity tartness didn't work in this one as well. I did get the woody aspect to it. It was quite nice. And I just thought the body in it was just kind of on the light side. And I had a note in here. I think I made this early on, but I think it may have been one of the lighter bodied ones, like perception wise, that we had. So Three French Hens, I think it's a 10%, so it's a little bit it's actually a little lighter than the other one, so it would make sense that it might be perceived as a little bit lighter body. But yeah, this one was fine. My kind of shooting from the hip rating on this was about a 3.5, so well, Mike,
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have anything new to say. I definitely tasted some oakiness. So did Party Nate. We both agreed on the lighter body, and we both agreed 3.25 out of 5.
There you go. Enough said on that one. Guys, 4 calling birds. Spoiler, I think this was my favorite of the day. So as we went through them, this was 4 calling birds. The base style here was a Belgian style dark strong ale with spices. They note that if the birds were calling their favorite treat, we think it'd be gingerbread. So this is a gingerbread inspired ale, and it was giving gingerbread, as they say. You got those spices in there. They noted the molasses, bitter chocolate notes, dark fruit notes, banana bread, licorice. All of it was there, guys. It was like a nice gingerbread made with dark molasses and just the right amount of spices. This is a Christmas beer to me. This is what I want from a Christmas beer, and I would have definitely consumed more of this one. Quite nice. And if you're looking for this one, this is the 2023 version. I don't know if they changed this up any, but the one we had was the 4 Calling Birds 2023.
It's 2024, I believe, for this one we had.
Is it? I did not see a listing for 24. I just saw the 2023.
Yeah,
so.
there's some random listing. I think they released these a couple of different times. I think the entire box came out in 2024. Possible that the beer itself was brewed earlier than that, but I think they were all the recreation of that year. But
Gotcha.
I agree. I like this one a lot. It was hard for me to decide between this one and number one. They were both tied, and they remained tied the entire time because there were aspects I really liked of the first one, and then I also very much like this. And you know what? I decided I would wait at the end and see if it mattered if I decided which one I liked more, and it ended up not mattering so much. It's kind of giving a little bit away, but yeah, nice gingerbread spices. It actually, I found this numbed the tongue a little bit. It had some nice boozy heat, but it was pleasant. It wasn't a bad thing. I got a little brown sugar out of it, and yeah, it was just it was just an enjoyable sipping beer, like lounging, enjoying the festive season and sipping a beer. So yeah, this was my rating that doesn't probably correlate to anything was about a 4 for this. So it was up there. I think one may have also been in the neighborhood of a 4. So yeah, that's what I thought.
Pointless numerical scale. Huh?
Exactly. Yes. The points don't matter in this, just much
Do
like
not
whose line
matter.
is it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Nate?
Yeah, this was the first one I liked of the lineup. I said it was malty, and then what I appreciated is that all of the things that they said that they included or to look out for in the beer, I could detect. And so this was something that I really enjoyed. I rated it a 3.75 out of 5. Party Nate's notes are molasses, cacao, boozy, nice. 3.75 out of 5.
Easy enough. Sometimes
Quality.
that's all it takes. That's all you need to know. Yeah, that was a good one. So moving on to the 5 golden rings. Yes, traditional. So this is a Belgian style golden ale brewed with pineapple juice and spices. And guys, getting into this one, this was another one that I did enjoy. And it immediately think, I haven't had this in years, but my mom used to make pineapple upside down cake quite often. And I think way back in the late 1900s when I was a wee lad, that pineapple upside down cake was probably more popular. But it was cool to make it. I helped her make them, and you put all the toppings in like the bottom of a bundt pan, and you pour your cake batter over that and bake that. So when you invert it out, you have it there. So you build it upside down. So Brian, if you didn't know that, I know you're not a cookery type of person there. So, but that was it. So yeah, I definitely got those flavors in it. It was delivering that pretty well. You even got like when you do a pineapple upside down cake with the sugar and stuff that you put in the bottom, that becomes caramelized when you cook the cake. So, there was some caramelization in this from it, like you would take if you would like pineapples Foster, Brian. Like if you'd taken pineapples and cooked them up bananas Foster style, that caramelization that you would get on there, kind of that flavor. So that's what I got in this beer. Again, my numbers don't mean anything. I put 4.5 on this one, and I think that's pretty justified for what I did. I ended up liking that one a lot.
I also did 4.5 in my number in my pointing system that doesn't really matter. My first note was this is spicy pineapple syrup. I like that, and I kind of I when I was drinking this, I'm like, this has got that juicy fruitiness that I think would appeal to IPA lovers, the modern iteration of IPA lovers. Like if you put this in a 4-pack of 16-ounce cans and gave it a cool label, cool design, a funny name, people would probably buy this like they buy hazy 4-packs of IPAs. It's like, call it a quad IPA or something like that. It is a little boozier than what typically goes into those, but 11.7%. I think this might appeal to people if they thought about it a little differently, but I like this a lot. I thought that was good. A nice ginger to it, some nice heat, some nice spices. I wrote this down. I think Party Nate may have been the one that says it, but I really like it. It tastes like summer. It feels like Christmas. It's great. It's a great beer. 4.5. This immediately went to the top of my list. I'm like, I really like this a lot. So yeah, what do you think, Nate?
Yeah, so this one was rocketed up to the top of my list as well. And I said that I got pineapple in the beginning and the end of it, ginger, allspice present. One thing, Tim, you mentioned the caramelization. I definitely started, as I drank more of it, I definitely started thinking that it was drinking more like a golden ale, not a golden ale, I'm sorry, a golden stout or like a white stout. So, sometimes you get like that
Yeah.
malty roastiness out of using light malt, but it's a high ABV. This one was incredible. And I still was a little conservative on my rating. I didn't rate it 4.5, but I rated it 4.25. Looking at Party Nick's notes, he also has 4.25, and he's got pineapple on the nose, juicy, no tart, allspice, very ginger.
Very ginger.
Very ginger.
Good stuff. Yeah, but overall that one was really nice. Yeah, for sure, guys. So I know 5 golden rings is the normal kind of break point in the song, but I feel like we need to go to the midway point here. So we're going to move on to 6 Geese a Lane. I feel totally off in doing this. I don't know where to go, but we're going to go there. So we go to 6 Geese a Lane, and this is another Belgian style dark ale brewed with Cape gooseberries. And guys, another one in a row for me, another one I enjoyed. And I do not know I do not want to know what a Cape gooseberry tastes like, but I did get a berry, kind of a fresh tart berry, but a different than the tartness that I got there. If it makes any sense, if you know kind of what a tartar berry, like a white grape kind of thing, So
Okay.
again, I don't know my Cape gooseberries. I could be talking, out the other side of my head here, but the beer had a very good mouthfeel. I thought the maltiness was really nice on this. I did get the fruit. It had to be gooseberries, I guess, in there, but all in all, it came together really well. And this one I gave a 4.25. I enjoyed it.
I was in the same neck of the woods. I think I started messing with the ratings to try to make them fit my order. I was keeping
Yeah,
track of the
right.
order. I have like 4.15. I'm like, that was probably a 4.25 originally. But anyway, yeah, fruity. I got the berries happening. That mouthfeel you're talking about, like coat the palate, just kind of like with a richness. It was really nice. I thought I wrote that it had depth. Had nice plum and jam qualities to it. Warms the insides. Like this feels like what you would drink maybe in an overstuffed chair in your den while the snow is falling outside, maybe smoking a pipe or something like that. I wrote as a quote in here, I'm not sure if it was mine or somebody else's, I think it was mine, that it was a meditative, slow, thoughtful sipper. And I like this one a great deal. 5 and 6, 6 geese laying, both really, really great ones, and may have been the high point in the tasting for me. So this hit the number 2 spot for me right after at this point after 5 golden rings. So these guys took over.
Hit
I
the
agree with you,
spot.
Brian. This Geese Lane definitely became my number 2 beer. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I definitely thought that it was a thoughtful, slow sipper. This was something that as we moved on beyond the actual general tasting, I was definitely reaching for the bottle, getting a second and a third taste of this beer.
Yeah.
Good stuff, guys. All right, we're at the halfway point, Brian. I believe this is a fantastic time to take a quick break and give a shout out to our sponsor.
I'm surprised you didn't stop at 5 golden rings. I get why you
I
didn't,
know,
but
I know, man. I had to make decisions there. I had to make.
I know
decisions.
decisions had to be made.
Yeah,
We had to
yeah.
go with math over the
I
traditional
did.
breaking
That's
point.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so while you're not likely to see any of the beers we're talking about today on tap at Truck and Tap right now, don't worry. You can still find some great beers that will warm the cockles of your heart and get you into the Christmas in July spirit any time of the year. I am, of course, talking about those big, juicy stouts and the rich Belgian quads. Or Belgian ales, sorry, not quads this time. So let's get into that in a little thing I like to call my Truck and Tap beer picks for the week. At Truck and Tap Woodstock, I'm going with Speedway Stout, Salted Caramel Brownie from AleSmith. It's one of the 2 booziest craft beer options available right now at Truck and Tap, and if it doesn't fill you with the Christmas in July spirit, nothing will. It's a 12% pastry stout with a decadent combination of cocoa nibs and cocoa powder and Madagascar vanilla beads, fleur de sel sea salt, which I think means flower of the sea. Anyway, flower of the sea, sea salt, and artfully roasted coffee. They call it the ultimate dessert in a glass, and that. What else says Christmas in July but a dessert in a glass? At the Duluth location, I'm getting Reformation's Cadence. At the moment, it's as close as we can get to a proper Belgian winter ale or a Belgian quad, and I think it's going to do the trick. It's going to give you some of the rich, dark fruit and caramel flavors that you'd get from a good Belgian winter ale, minus the ABV and some of the spices, but hey, since it's not too boozy, maybe you can spice it up with a little shot of something, maybe a spiced spirit, a little cinnamon whiskey or schnapps or something like that, or an Amaro, and you've got some Boilermaker opportunities here. Again, it's not too boozy, so you're not going too crazy with that. And at the Truck and Tap Alfredo, my pick is Cordial Offering, all of the chocolate from Edmund's Oast, which is another pastry stout with tons of chocolate and some vanilla to keep all that chocolate in line. I have recommended this one before, and you're probably thinking there's no way that's still on tap, but it is. Truck and Tap knows what's up. It's popular. They got more kegs, and it's actually on at more locations now than it was when I first recommended it. So people are drinking this. They're enjoying it, so they're putting it on all over the place. And finally, at the Lawrenceville location, I'm going with a perennial favorite from New Holland, Dragon's Milk. It's basically a chocolate milk, but if chocolate milk came from a bourbon barrel and it gave you a warm internal glow. I seriously forgot this stuff was sitting at like 11%. It's crazy how boozy it is. But its 3 months stay in a bourbon barrel means you'll taste notes of vanilla and oak from the barrel, in addition to the coffee and chocolate from the beer. There's a reason this has been so popular for so long. So get out there and have a beer or two. As always, if you'd like to see the full tap list before stopping by, and I definitely recommend you do that, take a look at truckandtap.com. The taps do change quickly, and you never know what great new beer might go on and which of these might sell out. And if you'd like to see what the food trucks are serving and what events are happening, trivia, karaoke, live music, etc., you can find that at truckandtap.com as well. Everything you need to know can be found at truckandtap.com, so check that out. And thank you to Truck and Tap for your support.
Thank you, Truck and Tap. We appreciate it as always. Well, Brian, moving right along with number 7 here, we have Seven Swans of Swimming, and this is a Belgian style quad ale, and it is their take. They said their take on a Belgian quad. So this one, guys, you know what? This one was just kind of mid-level for me here. I thought it was. I noted it was a nice classic Belgian quad. There was nothing about this that stood out for me. I think especially coming off a few that I really liked there. But that is my review on this one. This was a decent Belgian quad.
I said very similar things to you, to what you said in my notes. I've got just solid, robust, boozy quad. It's got a good amount of heat to it. I got apple qualities to it. I got some spices. I got a little richness. And when I looked based upon the description for apricots, I did see them in there. So I didn't hate it. I wasn't in love with it. I thought this was good. Middle of the pack. It actually wound up, because I like some of the other ones, 5, 6, 1, and 4 so much better. It wound up after those, but I thought this was fine. It just was outclassed by a bunch of other beers so far in the running.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. After back-to-back beers that I enjoyed, we went back to a beer that I thought was fine. I said that this was surprisingly boozy. For the ABV, it was a 9.1% ABV, and it was surprisingly boozy. It didn't drink as balanced, but I did appreciate the dried fruit notes that I was getting out of it.
Fine
That's
beer.
right. This one was hotter than it should have been for its ABV. It's 9.1%, and it was hotter than some of the 11 percenters. I forgot about that, but you're right. This was.
There you go. Hot beer. Cold beer, but hot. If you know,
Yep.
what we, you know what
Indeed.
we mean. Brian, number 8 was 8 Maids of Milking, an Imperial Milk Stout. And guys, this was one of the big disappointments for me. I was really excited for this one. I commented earlier, man, we've had a lot of Belgian beers here because I was hoping, for some nice barley wines, English style barley wines, of course, and some stouts, barrel aged stouts, and that. So when I saw an Imperial Milk Stout, I was excited. I don't know, Brian, if ours was from 2024. You bought the kit, the set in 2024. Perhaps this one just didn't have a good shelf life. Perhaps it just did not age well, but it was tart. It had that tartness, and that is definitely not something I want in an Imperial Milk Stout. Their description talked about robust layers of milk chocolate and subtle spice accents their Belgian house yeast. And I think I did remember, I didn't know it was a Belgian until after we drank it, and I was disappointed. And I'm disappointed again, Brian, because I'd forgot that until I was reading my notes just now. So I have been disappointed in this beer. But yeah, guys, I don't want to keep rambling, but this one just didn't hit for me.
Disappointed once again, reliving
once again.
It keeps
Yeah.
paying in dividends. Oh wait,
Yeah.
that's not dividends. Yeah, I noted initially, my initial thoughts were like, okay, very chocolatey. There was kind of a dusty quality to the chocolate. I did not care for the way the chocolate expressed itself in this beer. And I also started to notice like a touch of bubblegum and figs and like a milky stickiness to it, and a little sourness as well. I think this may have been a casualty of time. Honestly, I don't know for a fact, but it kind of, all of that seemed out of place. And I wrote that the more I drink this one, the more I dislike this. So this one dropped right to the bottom of my list, and I gave it a rating. But honestly, I don't even know why I bothered, because like whatever my lowest rating was, it would be
That's it.
point
That's the
10
one.
under
Right.
that. So yeah.
Yeah, the trouble with this being the first non-Belgian beer is that I had higher than average expectations for how good it was going to be, and an Imperial Milk Stout from the brewery to bat, and for it to fall as flat as it did was just really disappointing. Party Nate's notes are sharper than I expected, dusty chocolate, sawdust,
Oh, yeah.
bubblegum shines through as it warms up, and honestly, this, when chocolate is not made well, it gets a little crumbly. This tasted like a crumbly chocolate milk stout, and it just wasn't a very, I didn't think of well good beer.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, guys. This one just didn't hit for us. 9 Ladies Dancing. Moving along here. This was an L with cacao nibs, vanilla coffee, and lactose. And they said this was inspired by the flavors and ingredients found in a tiramisu, including ladyfingers. They said 9 Ladies Dancing mimics the Italian dessert by whipping together flavor combinations and layers of its own. This includes notes of vanilla, chocolate, and coffee. Clearly the leading ladies in this rich ale. This one was middle of the road for me, guys. I thought it was fine. There was I didn't notice anything off on it. I didn't necessarily get all of the layers. I was kind of looking for, in a tiramisu, you've got the mascarpone that's got kind of a unique flavor to it, and I didn't necessarily get that. I thought this was fine. It didn't excite or impress me, but it was a fine beer.
I like this one a lot compared to some of the other ones. It ran towards the top of my list almost immediately. It was lighter in color than most of the other ones I noted, short of the 5 golden rings, but good coffee aroma and flavor. I really enjoy that, and I'm a sucker for that. Honestly, if it's got good coffee, good flavor, good coffee aroma to it, it's going to get a 0.25 bump for me in terms of like ratings. It's just I can't escape it. It's the way I am. But I wrote that it tasted like a coffee dessert to me, which makes sense because tiramisu is a coffee dessert.
Yep.
I did not judge it to the standard of tiramisus, maybe as much as I should have, because I just enjoyed it. But I got like a raisin and maybe even a cherry aspect to it, which maybe doesn't fit too well with the whole concept of what this was. And it may be a little bit of that kind of tartness we've seen across all of these beers a little bit. But I think it was Party Nate that mentioned that macadamia nuts, and I was like, okay, I think I kind of get a little of that in there too. But yeah, it's straight up a coffee pastry stout, and it's really good. This was like at this point, it was like it jumped to like my number 2 spot. I really enjoyed this. I thought this was good. I was hopeful for this, and I was glad that this is the second lactose beer in a row from them. And actually, there was only 2, and the other one was terrible. And I think it was the lactose was part to blame. In this case, it was not a problem at all. So I was very happy with this one.
Yeah, this beer definitely was one of my favorites. This beer, not that we're like really paying attention to the ratings too much, but this beer jumped into my top 3. I really appreciated that the adjuncts came through. Each of them came through really well. Again, I thought that this one tasted kind of like a white stout. It was a little lighter in color, and you mentioned raisin, Brian. I got notes of golden raisin out of it. So still
Yeah.
some of like that dried grapey flavor, but on the lighter side of it instead of like the typical purple raisin that you see.
Golden raisins. Good stuff. Guys, moving along to 10, Lords of Leaping, and this one is a dark imperial wit ale brewed with spices. And this one is their version of a wassail or a wassail. If you go wassailing or wassailing, we actually invoked Chat GPT for
Yes.
some questions, and it was correcting our pronunciation. Or like, hey, I forget what we asked. Well, we asked what's the difference in a wassail and something else, because there's 2 things that are fairly close, and they're like, it's like, well, actually, it's pronounced wassail. I'm like, is it though? So it was.
Oh, you were
a little-
using the audio version of
the
it, so
audio
very
where it talked to it.
condescending.
Yeah, so it
very
was, it was
condescending
a little
about it.
snarky, and by this time we're 10 beers into this, so we're having a good time talking to Chat GPT. But yeah, so this was their version of a wassail, and so you're looking at like a traditional winter warmer with some nice spices in there. And they said, of course, getting a little bit experimental with it there. And they said with the spices to complement the spice notes imparted from the yeast and to prance upon the rich, dark fruited character of the specialty malts. So I thought this one was pretty good. I did get what I called a kind of a bready wheat, like not like a white bread, but like a wheat bread kind of character out of it there. The spices were light, but noticeable. Overall, this was pretty tasty. This was okay. This was fine.
I thought this was a solid middle of the pack one. I think it was outclassed by a number of other beers, but it smelled to me like cooked apples, and I think that the 2024 version actually incorporated dry apples into it, which might be a change over the original. But I also got a touch of smokiness to it. I actually wrote that there's a smoke something in here, maybe like smoked bacony or something like that. Like it had a touch of something that reminded me of a rock beer, like that, a little smoke character to it. I don't know if that was intentional, and I don't remember if anybody else mentioned that too, but that came out to me, and that was actually kind of a plus for this. This was a very interesting beer. I just don't think it was quite as interesting or as good as some of the other ones.
Yeah, this beer being a dark imperial wit, I don't like wit beers. It's never a style I voluntarily order. So this being in the lineup, I knew was going to be a tough sell for me. But drinking through it, I thought this was a well-made beer. I thought it was a very well execution of the style. I will never order this ever again. But in terms of the actual beer itself, I really appreciated that the spices came through. Party Nate's notes on this is that it's cidery, and his opinion was that it was very spiced. I rated this a 3.75 out of 5, and he rated it a 3.5.
Fair enough, guys. On to 11 Pipers Piping. I got excited for this one, guys. Like we talked about some Belgian ales. This was a Scotch style ale brewed with candy sugar and coriander. And guys, this one ended up coming out just being kind of mid, you know, for the Scotch ale style. I love the style, some really great beers. This one just did not pack a great punch, you know, and did not meet expectations. You know, again, we were later in this, so for a beer that I was excited for and then didn't love, I didn't take a ton of notes on. I actually my notes on this literally say mid, and and I think that pretty well sums it up for me.
I did actually take a few notes on this. I thought this was, yeah, mid, meaning, yeah, just it. So I wrote, this is just there in my notes, and I thought it was a little thin, a little too boozy for the perceived beer. Even though it's like 11%, it came across boozier than I think it should have for what the beer presented. Yeah, it smells like a. This was the key thing for me when I realized this, and I made a point of writing this down. It smells like a better Scotch ale than it actually is. When you drink it, it does not taste as good as it smells. It smells great. It smells great. It just does not deliver on that. What do you think, Nate?
You know, this is the 11th beer out of 12 beers that we're tasting, and so as one does, as you get through 11 examples of tasting, you start to take less and less notes. My notes on this beer is it's a Scotch ale. That's it. Party Nate has better notes, though. He said that this was thin, boozy, spacey. Just any Scotch ale I've had. Nose is better than taste.
So he agreed. Yeah, he agreed.
Yeah, he
I
agrees.
remember that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Guys, we have done it. We have made it through the entire 12 or to the 12th day of Christmas, the 12th beer of Christmas. The drummers are drumming, 12 beers going through. You know, before we started the tasting, we were concerned about having just a 375 bottle for 4 people. I think we were originally planning maybe a 5th, but really if you're drinking 12 beers of that booze caliber, that's plenty really for everybody to sample around. So you know, it worked out well. We all got to enjoy some, and I think we had I believe after I left, guys, you made a grand cuvee with all the leftovers there.
Cuvée.
So but anyhow, 12 drummers drumming. This is 80% Belgian style quadruple ale and 20% old ale aged in bourbon barrels. Guys, unfortunately, I think for me, this one hit about the same place as that Scotch ale did. It was just okay. You know, again, quad mixed with old ale. We're back on some Belgian-y character here, and I was kind of over it. And it just didn't deliver. Once again, not a lot of notes here, but in my opinion, a disappointing finale to the 12 Days of Christmas beer series.
This was firmly middle of the pack for me. I did say that the quad comes through strongly, but like if it's 80% quad, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know, that old ale must have been really potent because it did actually bring in a lot of some oaky quality to this. So they probably the blend of it was intentional. Like too much of that old ale would have probably killed it with the wood, but it was really boozy. I said there was some nice dark fruit in it, and it seems that honestly the boozy quality of it seemed to fit this beer better than some of the others where I've complained about it being too hot or too boozy. This worked okay. It's like a really oaky quad with a good booziness to it, and just it's the middle of the pack. It was outclassed by other beers. I thought it was fine though. You know, I'm not mad at it. I'm just not excited about it. And as hard as these are to come by and as special as they are, I'm like, would I get this again if I saw like a 750 like back in the day? I don't think I probably would. It was just okay, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you
this
think,
was one
Mo,
of
Mike
those
Nate?
beers that I was excited about because it was a blend. We didn't see many blends, or I don't think any besides this one. And so I was excited for it. It's a bourbon barrel age, so I was excited for that. I don't know how wet those barrels were that they aged it in because I got a lot of bourbon notes drinking this beer. I thought it was very boozy, heavy. I rated this middle of the pack 3.5 out of 5. Hardy Nate's notes, bourbony, boozy, oak, plum, and dark cherry. So, and he also rated it a 3.5 out of 5. Middle of the pack.
There you go. 12 beers done for Christmas in July. It was a good time. It was fun. We've been
Yeah.
planning this for a while. Again, Brian bought this box in 2024, so
That's right.
it's got a couple years of cellaring on it there, but we did finally get down to it. I'll be honest, guys. Overall, it was disappointing, and I think I had a lot of expectations for it. We've tried to get together several times, and either we had another show to do, we had something else going on, and it just didn't fit in. And right now, with the Christmas in July, it seemed like the perfect time to make it happen and not have to wait for actual Christmas again. So
Yeah.
we went with that. But overall, a lot of the beers were just okay. A couple were not very good. And my final list, I couldn't pick 5 that I would say were my top 5, but I had 4 that made just the top 3 a little difficult for me. So out of that list, I did enjoy 2 Turtle Doves, 4 Calling Birds, 5 Golden Rings, and the 6 Geese Lane. I thought those were all tasty beers.
Yeah, 6 Geese Laying was my number 3. So my number 1 was 5 Golden Rings, and number 2 was 9, which was 9 Ladies Dancing, which was the tiramisu beer. I love that, but again, I do like my coffee beers. It's well established. Yeah, 6 Geese Laying, and then in the 4th place, I won't go to 5 because it was tied between 1 and 4. So Partridge in a Pear Tree, and what was 4 again? 4 was Calling Birds. So those 2 were tied. I don't
There you
know
go.
which one
Yeah.
would come out on top, but I didn't bother to decide, so I just left it at that. I would get 5 Golden Rings again if I saw it, and I would probably get 1 or 4 again, or that tiramisu. So any of my top 5, I would get again if I saw them again. But that 5 Golden Rings, I would definitely be on the lookout for. But other than that, it was fine. It was fun to get together to do this.
It was fun. Yeah, for sure.
It was great to finally get it done, having drank through all of them, and then having a perspective on what they're all about. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Yeah, I'm good.
Sure. I mean, I can't argue that, Brian. That was a fun thing to do, to sit down, to share through the whole Christmas set. Because I remember when these were coming out and you'd find either the current years or maybe you'd find like the one from the previous year or that.
Yeah.
But to get to sit down and crack them all open together, that was fun for sure.
That was cool. Yeah.
Nate, your final thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna pair it. It was a lot of fun having you boys. It's always a good time having Beer Games
For
Radio
sure.
over
Getting
at the
together.
house and doing a hangout, tasting through some tasty drinks or less than tasty drinks. I'm gonna echo as well. Top 3 between both of the Nates. Honestly, it looks like it's gonna be 5, 9, and 6. And so the Golden Rings, the Ladies Dancing, I would happily grab another one of those bottles. And the Geese Lang, we can figure out what a gooseberry is. I'll have one of those.
Make
Yeah.
some gooseberry pie or something, huh?
Heck
There you
yeah.
Good stuff. Brian, what were your tops again?
Yeah, I was 5, 9, 6, and a tie for 1 and 4 in the 4th place.
So 5
Yeah.
and 6, we all agreed on there.
Yes.
You and I both had 4 on there. So, there was a little bit of consensus on some
Yeah.
of these. So
I think 5
Yeah.
was the runaway hit. Like everybody loved 5.
the hit, it was good.
Everybody
it was good.
loved
They
5.
did that one well for sure.
Which is why
For
it's
sure.
interesting that of the lineup, it was the least rated on, the least
That's
highest rated
right.
on
It was
Untapped.
it was the
Yeah.
lowest rated on Untapped. Yeah.
Yeah, fun stuff. Y'all, thanks again for hanging out with us. If you have any other ideas for us to do tasting shows, we have definitely got, some recommendations of, some things people would like to see. We did the America, the 250 years of American beer. That was, Coach Rogers, friend of the show. That was his idea. And we're always looking for cool stuff to do. Drinking beer with a theme is fun. Drinking beer by itself is fun. Drinking beer with a theme to it's even more fun. So that's
Yes.
always a good thing to do. So let us know. Drop us a line. We'd much appreciate it. So as always, we appreciate you hanging out with us. If you enjoy what we're doing here, you enjoy things like this, tell a friend to listen to the show. Send them the link. Tell them to check it out. See what they think. If you've tried the beers as well, let us know what you think about them. If you really dig what we're doing here, we'd love it if you go to patreon.com/beerguys and support the show. We'll get you some swag. We'll give you thanks, and we'll invite you to our Discord server where the patrons hang out and talk about a little bit of everything. So it's just a good time. And we'll invite you to hang out in the studio for the after party after the show taping each week there. So with all that said, though, we hope that you do have a very good week. And don't forget to drink local. Cheers.